Okay, so many crazy things are happening in crypto right now as we speak. One of which is that MicroStrategy again is buying $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. I mean, if you did not see it just quite yet, you can see it right here over on the right. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is again raising $2 billion to yet again buy more Bitcoin. But honestly, it's just one of the crazy announcements of today, as today has been pretty wild if you ask me. So for example, Genesis just got caught moving $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and ETH for creditors. And so right now people are a little bit afraid because if they are moving money for creditors, does that mean some crazy dumps are about to happen? And normally I really wouldn't be too afraid of any of that, but the fact that right now the Bitcoin price went from 62 to 65 to 62 is making me question whether or not people are not reacting to this a little bit more fiercely than we would like to see. But then again, I always look back at the one most important thing, which is what is BlackRock doing? What are the institutions doing? And clearly, as of this point, it seems they're just buying. Don't just take my word for it. You can actually see it for yourself right here, for example. We can see that, yes, there have been some outflows, and no, the inflows here have not been too crazy, but the overall trend is still positive. And perhaps that's because of what is happening in the background. One of which, let me just quickly guide you guys through what exactly was said right here. Morgan Stanley tells wealth advisors they can pitch Bitcoin ETFs in a first for a big bank. Let's quickly take a look at that. So Morgan Stanley on Friday told its army of financial advisors that it will soon allow them to offer Bitcoin ETFs to some clients. A first among major Wall Street banks, CNBC has learned, and the firm's 15,000, you can't perfectly see. Here you go, I think you can see it better this way. The firm's 15,000 or so financial advisors can solicit eligible clients to purchase shares of 2 exchange-traded Bitcoin funds starting next week, according to people with knowledge of the policy. Those funds are BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust and Fidelity's Wise Original Bitcoin Fund, the people said. And so regardless of all the negative or skeptical news when it comes to all this dumping, the general trend is quite positive. And I guess you can see it from the news announcements of the sort, like right here. But before we move on, just quickly watch this video. I really want every single one of you to watch it, especially if you're down in the whole crypto things. But even if you're not, just watch this video to get some good vibes rolling. I liked it. I think you will too. But before I move on, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done it yet, go ahead and make sure you go ahead and press that like button right now. You don't have to, but let's get that above 500 likes. Why not?
So about a year ago, I started pounding the table because eventually the Fed is going to start easing here. That's great for gold and that's for Bitcoin. What I said is Bitcoin is growing up and will be eventually half the total market cap of gold. So that's about 350,000. So quite a ways to go from here. The super bulls, if central banks adopt it and it's part of the monetary system, then in the millions, but I don't like to talk about that too much.
What, more than 2 million, more than 3?
Yeah, like 2.9, we've got some model, which is, you have to look at the assumptions.
Right, well, yeah, there are always big ifs there. Where are you as an ETF guy with all kinds of different ETFs, everything from fixed income to, who knows, staples, consumer cyclicals, et cetera.
Yeah.
Where do you put your personal money right now?
I like longer term trends because I feel like, okay, it'll be a bumpy ride, but I like to have conviction about something that's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. Mm-hmm. To me, there's no doubt that Bitcoin is becoming adopted the way gold is. I just think it's obvious. Now, I think you have to have your own diversified portfolio, and kind of having a huge overweight to Bitcoin is a personal decision, but I just see that rising. I'll give you another example, India. The Indian economy is the best macro story. Everyone says the stocks are overvalued. I get it, but it's doubtless the Indian equities have done as well as U.S. equities over the last 10 years and will continue to do well. But he was a gold bug. So, yeah.
Of course, the founder of...
So call me biased, but the way I see it is this would usually just be said behind closed doors, but for some reason, I think maybe because of Larry Fink's or maybe even Trump's vouchers, of all these big players' vouchers, they're starting to say these things, which usually are not said to all the normal people out loud. Hey, Bitcoin is really in a place to replace gold, or at least has a lot of the same value proposition parts. If you keep repeating it, it starts to make more and more sense. I know for some people at first, it might sound kind of ridiculous. And I think one of the main reasons for that would be because gold's been around for so long. But I personally always say, all good things must end. But when it comes to this crypto stuff here specifically, I just think it's the next big wave. Makes way more sense than traditional gold for it to keep the value at least, or for it to be the store of value. And that's why I can never be bearish on this. And as a little side note, I've been posting way more of these like meme coin type of trading videos. Not me trading too much myself, but mostly following what a couple of others have been doing, just commenting on some of the most recent and crazy successes. If that is something you're interested in, by the way, make sure you follow me on TikTok or check out the shorts section of YouTube, as I'll be covering it more and more. I think it's one of the most interesting sectors because meme coins, I personally think, always have a place, but especially right now in this time, for some reason, they're still in some crazy hot demand, even though Bitcoin is not setting these higher highs, even though most altcoins have been going down only for a long while. Literally, if you're asking me which altcoin to go for, I'd say the highest probability of success right now today is a meme coin. The only problem is there's a pretty high barrier of entry and the probability of actual success is quite low. Whereas with altcoins over a longer period of time, I think the probability of success is like 99%. With meme coins, it's not as high. But if we're talking sectors, the meme coin sector right now is just popping off left and right. Whereas with traditional altcoins, I don't think you're in the best spot right now. Again, it could be, but mostly Ethereum still isn't a really good value proposition because of the ETF thesis, as we described before, where Bitcoin went down for a little bit after the ETFs came up. Ethereum has the same. And since Bitcoin had a crazy rush a few weeks into it, we're expecting something perhaps similar for Ethereum. Anyway, before I move on, here's another little interesting video. And again, I think many of you guys will appreciate what I'm about to show you. So if you've not done it yet, make sure you press that like button, but just take a look.
They think it's good. Who knows? Maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand them a little crypto check, right? We'll hand them a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you...
As a little side note, I just earlier in the video said that people reported that Genesis was moving money around. It's actually been confirmed by Mark Cuban, though, that he already got himself $20 million worth of ETH back. So perhaps that's exactly what's causing this dump right now. I mean, you never really know 1,000% sure, but it does make sense following the agenda. 6 hours ago, everything was really crazy bullish. All of a sudden, Genesis announcements are going out, people are getting their money back, and we see a pretty instant couple $1,000 drop in the Bitcoin price. So if I had to name something, I think that that's exactly what's causing our prices to dump today. But once more, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the short term. It's not about today. It's not about the next few weeks. It's about the next few months, which the funds still consider short term, all right? Most of these guys have an investment thesis over the next few years. They want to invest in case every shit hits the fan, which, again, what is the probability of that happening like within a day or two, right? We're probably not there yet. Things are still in a pretty okay position. In the background, they're garbage, but not at collapse just quite yet. I think we still have a little bit to go. And so I always see my investment thesis as that. And if you also do, then all this, easy, all right? Easy sailing. Just wanted to present you guys the news of today that I found. Mostly why we're dumping, I think because of Genesis. I personally think so. If you disagree, let me know down below in the comment section. That's about it.